People of Reddit who are anti-weed. Why? My friends that smoke make it their entire identity. They used to have hobbies and were passionate about things. Now they're content with whatever and everything has to be about smoking. My friends and I used to smoke weed every day and then do stuff. I stopped smoking when smoking became the thing we were doing. If that makes sense. Believe it or not, one of my favorite quotes about weed is from South Park. It's Randy talking to Stan. Stan, I've been told a lot of things about pot, but I've come to find out a lot of those things aren't true. So I don't know what to believe. Randy, well, Stan, the truth is marijuana probably isn't gonna make you kill people, and it most likely isn't gonna fund terrorism, but, well, son, pot makes you feel fine with being bored. And it's when you're bored that you should be learning some new skill, or discovering some new science, or being creative. If you smoke pot, you may grow up to find out that you aren't good at anything. This was the quote that has kinda kept me away from it all these years. That warning really rang true to me amidst all the heavy-handed anti-pot messaging. Go figure. No kidding. I think it's something that should be taken in moderation. Like almost everything, I guess. When I smoke personally, I'm stupid. Like my understanding of certain things is just straight up awful. But sometimes it's okay to be stupid. Sometimes, when I have the day off the following day, nothing to me is quite like taking a couple heavy hits of weed and watching dumb videos for an hour or two before I fall asleep. But that being said, I'm not functional during the day. If I smoke during the day, you can bet I'll sit on my ass and not do anything until I'm sober. For real though. I take edibles in the evening for pain. But there is no way I could take anything and work. I have to be on point for work and weed does not do that for me. I don't take any during the day for the same reason I stopped taking the gabapentin for the nerve pain. It made me dumb and I can't work dumb. However, weed gives me the relief I need in the evenings and wears off by the morning. Gabapentin makes me dumb all the time regardless of when I take it. It's a trade-off. I would much rather partake of the devil's lettuce than opioids. I'm 45 and I remember when South Park debuted. The number of times I've heard people refer to this quote as keeping them away from weed is astounding to me. It's mainly because there isn't any malice or biased judgment in it. He's just relaying a pretty balanced opinion, which rings true. Took me fucking years to shake off the years of weed I smoked. It's all personality. Not everyone that drinks becomes an alcoholic, but as a young kid I definitely was fed the line that it's not addictive, and in a weird way good for you. Lots of pluses, but really did take over my life and personality. For me, I think it became really apparent when I'm working on something in my free time, and realize how much more I get done when I don't smoke. I still smoke regularly, but not until I'm sure I don't need to utilize my mind for anything for the rest of the day. I'm at this point just because the high is better. Getting stoned when you have to do responsible shit is just living life on hard mode. Waiting till the very end of the day, when your shit is taken care of, it really does feel like a mini vacation for a job well done. Yeah, I smoked weed all through high school, pretty much daily, and I wish I never had. It absolutely flattened my personality and ambition, and I don't think I've ever been the same since despite not smoking anymore. I can definitely relate to this. I think the issue with weed is that it can really fuck up personal development and growth if abused in your formative years. And truth be told, it was so easy to get from 12 to 16. Easier than alcohol. Easier than cigarettes. I was a heavy smoker for 6 years. Towards the end, I was going through one once every 2 weeks. Cannabis numbed me from my mental health issues. Any mind-altering substance can aggravate pre-existing mental instability, and weed certainly did for me. My problem with a weed culture is that people who are heavy cannabis users think it is completely normal to smoke every day, to depend on this substance whenever they experience hardship. It is a very unhealthy habit that is entirely normalized. If you have a bad day or a bad interaction, and your first instinct is, I'm going to have a shot of vodka that will help, You are not allowing yourself to process your feelings at all. It's the same thing for weed, but no one talks about it. Hard agree with this. My partner stopped weed and now he's going through a lot of emotional turmoil and is depressed. I told him that he's finally allowing himself to feel his emotions, and that to get over it is to get through them and that I'll be there for him as he goes through it. Very eye-opening. But it's best to go through your own feelings and not numb them. I'm going through this with drinking. I stopped drinking as part of my diet, not thinking it would drop me into a pit of depression and make me realize my dependency on it. It's making me process this shit I have been dealing with for the past 5-ish years instead of just drinking and not giving a shit. I really hate it, but I also am trying to lose weight and get through it because I know once I do I'll feel better, I hope. Weed culture is really annoying, and my friends, who peer pressure me into smoking it in spite of my repeated reminders that it doesn't agree with me, are equally annoying. Go ahead yourself, just leave me out of it. Bro, I was searching for this answer. Friends or people, who smoke and try to get you into it are super fucking annoying. Some of my friends are still trying to get me to smoke one even after years of me saying no to every offer. I smoke weed once or twice a week and have family who smoke daily and still they bug me about smoking. Bitch, I like it but I still need to parent. Leave me alone. I used to really love getting stoned, but eventually it got to the point where it just made me sad that I felt like I had to get stoned before I watched a movie, or played a game, or had a nice meal. I hated that I had a real fear that if I stopped I wouldn't enjoy those things anymore. January 1st, 2022, I decided to give it up, ate my last edible and didn't order anymore. I was undoubtedly a little more of a jerk for the first week or so, but then I caught myself laughing at a show and had this introspective moment of clarity, where I realized I was still watching and enjoying movies, I was still enjoying food and games. It's been just over a year now and I don't really miss it at all, and I just kind of feel dumb about how important it used to be to me. I miss the ritual of packing a bowl and the act of puffing on a pipe, but I don't miss being high, truly. I still have dreams where I smoke cigarettes though. I don't think that will ever go away and I haven't smoked them in 5 years. Don't smoke cigarettes, kids. I quit cigarettes a year ago and still crave them way too much. I thought I'd be over the hump after a year, but I sometimes still get cravings very similar to when I was still a smoker and hadn't had a cigarette all day yet. It's freaking brutal sometimes. 2 of 5 years without cigarettes, I still want a fucking cigarette every moment I'm nervous or stressed or anything. It's so hard, but it's for my doctor, so I guess I will never smoke cigarettes again. Same. My little one begged me to quit, so I did cold turkey. It's been nearly a decade. I think about smoking daily. I don't know you, but on behalf of your little one I just want to say thank you. When I was 7 I begged and cried to my dad asking him to quit after they showed us in school what pig's lungs looked like after smoking for years. It terrified me. He promised me he would. He never did. He's been dead for 11 years now, for different reasons, and as much as I love him and will always love him, it's the one thing I still haven't forgiven him for. It would have been one thing if he told me he would try, but it hurt like hell to have him look me in the eyes and promise me he would, then go out the next morning to buy a pack of cigarettes and finish them by the end of that week. I wish you luck. I regretfully know the feeling about how difficult the craving is. I started at 16 and quit 4 months later. Still crave them at 22. I guess maybe I should forgive him after trying it myself. ETA, I've gotten some shitty replies and messages, so let me clear things up. I was a child who was given information that is scary to a child. I have been working on forgiveness for a very long time. I understand what addiction is and the struggles it has. I'm no saint either. I know promises don't always mean anything and that things take time. If he had lived a little longer, I'm sure we could have had the conversation as adults, and hell, I probably wouldn't have budged. It was his life and he could do what he wanted with it. Again, I was a child who was scared. I have plenty of things to forgive him for and I'm working on it. I miss flicking the butt to Ash the cigarette the most. I need some type of cigarette fidget toy. I quit smoking 15 years ago and instead developed like restless hand syndrome. My hands always have to be busy. I cannot just sit and watch a film without either crocheting, scrolling my phone, eating, etc. I think it might play a part in why I'm such a big gamer. It keeps my hands busy in a way TV doesn't. And I'm obsessed with blue tack. If I see a piece of it stuck on a wall or on a desk, that's it, it's my hand fidget toy for the rest of the day. Fuck, I've even taken it off the backs of posters, and left them hanging by the top 2 corners, not even sorry. I'm not against weed itself, I'm against people smoking it in the downstairs history hall bathrooms, and making the entire downstairs smell like weed, and then complaining about how no one likes them. Yep, I'm not against weed at all and have smoked it myself, but what smells good to some people is an overpowering awful skunky smell to others. I'm one of the skunk smell people. It's literally my only reason to be anti-weed. So I'm anti-joint, technically. I hate the smell too. My next-door neighbor likes to smoke his weed when I have washing outside. If I don't get it in really quick, my work uniform ends up stinking of it, and needing washed again. 'Cause it's stinky, don't care if others do it, just not in my face please. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like I don't care if you smoke, but God, take a fucking shower. I don't want to be in close proximity because you smell like you just got done with a skunk orgy. I'm against marijuana use for people with a still developing brain. There are many studies to show why. Personally, I find the lazy stoner type to be true in some cases, and I find those people to be very annoying. I have some friends and family like this who stay high most of the day. It's a minority though, I am sure, so that doesn't really inform my general opinion on weed, but it is something I steer clear from when developing new relationships. Edit, yes, feel the same way for drinking. I dated a guy who smoked constantly. I was pretty young and naive, and he told me it helped with his ADHD and arthritis in his hands. We used to go for dates, but after an hour or two he'd eventually be like nudging me to go back to his place. His laundry machine broke, so we went to my place to do laundry. Then after he put the laundry in, it was, I'm bored here, let's go back to my house, and hang for 45 minutes and we'll come back. So I drove all the way across town again. This happened all the time. I broke up for other reasons, but it wasn't until after the breakup that I realized he was always pushing to go home, because he was sobering up and needed to get high again. He could buy joints and bring them with him, but he had such a tolerance he needed 2 or 3 bong rips, so joints weren't enough. I have personally made a decision to not date people that smoke frequently. Dealing with this type of personality was so annoying. Me, hey, man, you want to go get lunch? Them, yeah, I will be right over, I just gotta smoke. Them, hey, mind if I drive, I want to smoke and you don't want us doing it in your car. Once we get there. Them, hold on, I have to smoke before I eat. After we are leaving. Them, I have to smoke real quick. It's extremely annoying and it takes so long for that person to pack their bowl and smoke. I'm a huge stoner and these people drive me crazy. Same, my Bill has to smoke before we go anywhere. He'll say he'll be real quick, but always ends up taking 30 minutes to an hour. I love being high, but I don't need to be high 24/7. Did we date the same person? I had the same experience dating someone who couldn't go long without it. I don't smoke personally and don't care what others do, but having your whole day centered around when you can smoke weed is a lot. He also constantly complained about financial problems while spending hundreds on weed in a month. Same guy, I swear to God. He blew his rent money on weed and texted me in crisis because he didn't have the foresight that rent was due on the 1st. Buddy had a part-time job and dropped half his university classes. He played video games all day. No car. Still was constantly overwhelmed by his own bad choices. After a while I was tired of trying to get my own shit together and having to help him get his shit together too. Been a lot better off without him. I was 21 and he was 25, for reference. I'm against marijuana use for people with a still developing brain. This right here. I am pro-legalization and have my medical card, which has been a godsend for nerve pain and PTSD, but if your brain is still developing, no way. And the lazy stoner thing is true. I do not drink alcohol, but I smoke weed, and, if I smoke every day, over time I realize I turn into a sack of shit and don't enjoy, or even do, my hobbies. I'm a painter and avid yogi. It's great for what it needs to do, but it's taken me a long time and a lot of growing up to get to the place of accepting and understanding moderation and regular tolerance breaks. I hadn't actually tried it until I was 29, and the first few times it was take it or leave it. Then COVID hit, I took another stab at it, and became very focused on how well it relieved my anxiety and depression from the state of the world. But after a couple years of coping through it, it just kind of wore off as being effective in any helpful way, so I just naturally stopped without really thinking about it. Nicotine, on the other hand, which I didn't try for the first time until 2 years ago, I regret ever letting the fling that I flung getting me into it, and every day is a battle. Even when I quit it for 2 weeks, the withdrawal still eats away. Not anti-weed per se, but the pro-weed is acting like there's no side effects. And it's this completely harmless thing which everyone will respond well to. That's the general consensus I get from very pro-weed people. I'm not anti-weed, but I hate the smell. I don't want to deal with the smell in a public area, same with cigarette smoking. I was looking for this comment. I also hate the smell, surprised I haven't seen anybody else mention it yet. Yes. Some people have swung too far to the other end of the spectrum. It's not the root of all evil like they claimed in the 70s to 2000s. It is way less addictive and problematic than tobacco and alcohol. It does help with medical conditions like seizure disorders and chronic pain. But it's not a miracle drug that cures every illness, and it is problematic in some cases. It messes with developing brains. Teens shouldn't be using it. It messes with sperm counts. Men who are trying for a baby should probably lay off the weed. Smoking or vaping anything is bad for your lungs. I get that edibles are more inconsistent, but that's really the way you should be going if you want to protect your lungs. And to add to it all, we don't know all the downsides it may have due to the long-term ban on even researching it. Anyone who is talking about weed with either bad or good extremes is wrong. The reality is somewhere in the middle. Yup. Watch my ex suffer through cyclical vomiting syndrome for years, while he would continue to spout off all the benefits of weed. Like, you can't stop vomiting long enough to take a breath in the mornings, and you can't remember your mom's birthday, but go off, I guess. Anti-weed? Nope. Anti-smoke? Definitely. The smell and the smoke are both triggers for asthma and allergies. It's just as bad as cigarettes to me. I'd like to see non-smoking forms of weed legalized. Then people can consume weed legally, but everyone else doesn't have to smell it. I'm for legalizing it, but I'm definitely against the normalization and minimizing the negative aspects. No, you don't drive better when high. No, kids and teenagers shouldn't be allowed to get high. No, you don't need to be high in order to enjoy normal things. No, it's not somehow better to be high at work than to be drunk at work. Anyone who thinks they drive better high should probably not be driving. I'm only anti-weed for my personal consumption only. Why? Because I've smoked and eaten enough of it to put a down payment on 2 houses. I currently own 1 house, so I've decided to not use weed or any drugs moving forward to try and reclaim my life. Thanks for the upvotes. I'm done talking about weed for the day, smiley face. Best comment on Reddit for January 17, 2023. Holy shit. Thank you everyone. Exactly. Other people are welcome to smoke, but I have an addiction that's crippling my opportunities. Weed is bad for me. Agreed. I don't mind people smoking. In fact, I still enjoy the smell of other people smoking. I just don't use it myself anymore. I've always heard people say, weed isn't addictive. Well, it was for me. It consumed my whole day and interfered with my work, my relationships, and my life in general. I'm just as happy saving that money as I was smoking it. People really like to take fact that weed isn't physically addictive to say it's not addictive at all. Psychological addiction is different from physical dependency. I am anti-secondhand smoke, regardless they are from tobacco or weed. I don't care if anyone smokes anything, but I care about the air I breathe, and I don't want to smell the secondhand weed, which smells horrible and is bad for my lungs. If you want to smoke, you should smoke in designated areas or your private place. Thanks for watching this video. Hit the bell next to subscribe so you never miss a video. Like, comment and subscribe if you are new on the channel.